Good morning, everyone. This is Jessica Wirt from SimpleSoft, Customer Success Manager here. I'm going to give it just another minute for a couple more that are logging in, and then we'll get started. As usual, just send your questions to the chat box. You will all be on mute. All right. Welcome, John.
Thank you.
All right, we will go ahead and get started, everybody. So as I said, I'm Jessica Wirt, and we have John Eltroth as our expert today who's going to do our demo. All right, I'm just going to go through a few slides as normal, and then I will turn it over to John to give us the demo. All right, today's agenda, we're going to just do a couple of upcoming events, review some settings that we recommend for your CRM Mobile, and then John will give us a live demo, and then we will have an open discussion. I can take you off mute then, or you can just send the questions to the chat box as normal. As usual, just a note to remember to follow us on social. We have lots of good updates going out on those. You can find us at SimpleSoft Solutions if you search them on the social sites. And don't forget about our blog. Lots of good updates, tips, tricks, and when we release hot fixes and patches, those come out there as well. All right, in December, we have our Infor channel partner, Allie Radcliffe, is going to partner with me to do a webinar where we're going to give you a sneak peek of the new 8.5 update that's coming out. A lot of exciting things coming with that update. And then we're also going to talk about some best practices for your database for prepping for the new year and cleaning up your data. And then, as I mentioned on the last webinar, we're going to take a break in January from webinars. So we look for your feedback on what you'd like to see us cover in the new year. We're hoping to bring back some in-person events too, so stay tuned. All right, I'm going to jump in to just some basics on the mobile client. So as you know, the Infor CRM Mobile client is connected with your web client and your XBAR. So anything you do in any of those platforms syncs in real time to the other. Something to note that we do get asked a lot is Infor CRM Mobile is not an app. You don't download it from the Play Store or your iPhone store. I'll show you a trick though to make it accessible like an app on the next page. So I just want to take a quick second to talk about what can and can't be done in mobile. So what can be done is your account, contact, your lead management. So you can add, you can edit, you can put in notes, you can schedule activities, right? For all those entities, you can create opportunities and tickets. You can see all your opportunities and tickets you've created in web. You have activity and calendar management. You can use your groups. And I'll show you some quick tips on setting defaults to access those quicker on mobile. You have a contour mapping feature where you can see accounts near you. So that's a great feature too. Just a note on that, you must set up your My Places. So if you want to start from a hotel that you're going to be staying at, or maybe a customer location or a company location, you'll have to set those up beforehand in your web client. And I have some videos on our YouTube channel that explain how to do that. You can briefcase offline data. That's an important feature they brought in the latest update. Today we'll be showing version 4.2. Is that right, John?
That's correct.
So if anyone wants or sees anything that we're showing today that you don't have or don't see, get with us after and we can help you get the info to update to the latest version. But the briefcasing is great for those of you that may travel into spotty coverage or no cell service. You can briefcase the contact information. It takes me like a snapshot for you to be able to access on your mobile phone, even if you don't have cell service. And again, if you're integrated with your ERP, You'll also have access to that data on your mobile as well, such as invoicing, receivables, shipments, and those items if you're connected with your ERP. So a couple of the items it doesn't do, unfortunately, you cannot convert leads. We do get asked that a lot. Something we've recommended is, putting in the notes, and this way you can quickly sort and convert those out when you get back to your web client or your desktop. So that is something you cannot do. You can't create groups, and you can't filter data. In the web client on the right-hand side, you have the filter list. That is not available in mobile. And the XBAR Outlook integration piece is not. So that's send to CRM. So if you send an email from your phone on your Outlook app or whatever app you're using for email, as long as it syncs with your Outlook on your desktop, I just recommend you go to your sent file once you're back in front of your computer and record to history. And then you can quickly record all those emails. You can select 10 or 12 at a time and record those to history. So that's how I suggest you do that most efficiently. Just check for questions real quick. All right, any questions on that? All right, I'm going to go through some quick settings here. As I mentioned, when you open your Infor Mobile, when you go to the URL, I suggest right here clicking Remember Me the first time you put your credentials in. That helps you log in faster. And then depending on if you have an Android or an iPhone, these settings might be a little different, but doing the saving to favorites and adding to home screen, then what it does is it puts a little icon on your home screen of your cell phone, and you just click that, and if you've clicked Remember Me, it will launch it just like an app does. So it makes it a little bit faster for you to get in. Okay, all right, the next slide. Sorry, here, trying to get my webcam out of the way. All right, so the next slide is showing you how to set up your default view. So again, the mobile client is all about being fast and efficient when you're on the road. That's what it's for. And so if you go on the left-hand side, and you'll see how to kind of navigate through this when John starts showing it, but you can click your three lines and it opens your navigation menu, and there's a configure menu there. When you go there, you'll see the list of all the entities that you have access to see. And so I've said here, if you check mark, if you click beside each one, it will check or uncheck these. So that is what you'll see in your go-to menu, what you select there. And now whatever is first in that list will be what your CRM Mobile opens up to. So if you want it to open to your notes and history or your account, you would press and hold and slide it up, and it would be the first item. And then always remember is to save with the check mark here to save your settings when you click out. Then another quick setting you can do is your default groups. Again, I'll send this out too. We also have videos on our YouTube channel that review how to do all this as well. But when you're in your account view, as you can see kind of in the behind the scenes, there's a little gear here in the right corner. When you click that gear, this settings option opens and you click on configure. When you click configure, any groups that you've created in the web client that you have access to see will show there. And again, you can check mark on or off beside the ones that you want to see when you drop down your groups menu back over here on the right. So anything check marked will show here. And then whatever you check beside in that list, in the black box over here again, that will be the default group that opens up when you go to that entity. So if you want it to be your active campaigns, you would select that in the list. And now when you open your CRM, when you first log in, it will open to the entity you selected of accounts, and it will open right up to that group that you want to access the quickest. So those are some tips to keep you efficient in the mobile CRM. I know I went through that pretty quick, but again, I have detailed videos of how to do this step by step on our YouTube channel, and we can take a look at it with John when he shows as well. Any questions so far? All right, really quick, I just wanted to go over again the end of year promo the Inbox Guru is offering 15% off your annual subscription. That is the native marketing platform for Infor CRM. If you're interested in learning more, please let me know. And another quick note, Flash Player is being discontinued the 31st of December. So your funnel chart in your web client will not work without this hot fix that they have done. So again, select your or I'm sorry, follow us on our blog. I have a blog on there that has all the instructions of how to apply this hotfix. If you need help or want us to do it for you, obviously reach out and we can do that too. So with that, that's all I have, and I don't see any questions. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to John for the live demo.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm having a difficult time finding the sharing of the screen on this. I had it before. Jessica, where is the share screen?
Oh, I was on mute telling you. It's below the your little webcam. There should be a screen icon in your navigation tools.
Have you allowed me to share?
You should be able to as presenter. Let me make sure. Maybe I do have to give it to you. Maybe that's what I needed to do. Try now.
That looks better. Thank you.
All right. Teamwork.
Well, I'm still not quite there.
Okay, yeah, we can see your screen.
Which screen are you seeing? Because I can't tell.
It's okay. I see your Outlook.
That's not the one I want. Okay, I'm not seeing how to switch the screen.
Can you drag the application over to this screen? We're seeing your Outlook still.
Well, there's a lot open here, so hang on.
Okay.
Got to be a way to do this. Okay, now what do you see?
I see it now. Now we see the demo.
Okay. All right, so when you first come into Infor Mobile, Jessica showed you how to log in. As she mentioned, you would come to whatever form that you've originally identified as your primary form to come in. And so it may look like this. Again, the mobile portal was designed to allow you to have access, a simplified access to Infor CRM from a mobile device. Could be a phone, could be a tablet. You could also do the same on a desktop, but it wouldn't make sense to do that. So it may be formatted about, about this size. Could be a little bit narrower depending upon your phone size. But it doesn't matter which type of device you're using. It's still the same mobile portal. And so in my case, I had it come into my schedule, and this is what I have to do today. So I see a to-do, I see a phone call, and you also see that this one has been marked as an important call. You can identify that, or you can see the identity that something is overdue, and you can also identify whether or not it's been touched. Now you see the hyperlink to a phone number. So if I was using this on my phone, I could just click that phone number and it should dial the phone. That is dependent upon the phone somewhat, but that would be a quick way to call someone. You also have the ability to click on the three dots to the right. That's normally referred to as the ellipsis. And at that point in time, you could either complete the task or add an attachment, possibly browse to the account or the opportunity or any other related entity that it's tied to. So if you just click on it, it's going to open up that particular activity. At the top, you'll see that there's a hyperlink to complete that activity. Here you see the details of the activity. Again, you have hyperlinks. So if you click the phone while you're or click the phone number while you're on a phone, then it would dial that. It will be important to recognize that if you're using extensions, such as this, where it's an X and a number, that depending upon the phone, it may not dial the extension properly. You may have to put in a different type of wait character in order for it to prompt you to wait to dial the extension and then click OK to continue with that extension. But that's very device dependent. Again, in this particular task, this is a to-do, and I have it tied to a ticket, a support ticket. And so you can see that I can hyperlink to the contact, to the account, and to the ticket. So if I were completing this activity, I would just click Complete Activity, fill out the notes associated with what we did to carry out this activity. And again, down below is additional information. So if I decide as I'm completing it that I need to edit anything there, then that's possible as well. When you're completing something, by default, it's going to assume that you're completing it as scheduled. But if you need to put in or by default, it's going to put in the time frame for as scheduled, or you could click here, which grays this out. But if you needed to change the time of when it was completed, then you can do that just by clicking the calendar, changing the time, etc. So if I want to say that actually I didn't complete this until 9, then I can make that change. And so in this case, I'll click Save, and that will complete that activity. Now you see that my schedule has changed, so I'm in essence working on my to-do list. Also, this View Settings button on the upper right allows you to identify certain characteristics. So I could identify that I want to see meetings, calls, to-dos, personal activities, and possibly even the KPI associated or key performance indicators associated with those. And so this is showing the key performance indicators for those 4 items that I checked. So that's another configuration that you can do in your schedule. Now the Related Items tab in the activity does identify what has been associated with it. So if I click on this associations, I can see that this is tied to the account and it's also tied to this opportunity. And we cancel out of that. In this case, I did not add any additional attendees to the activity, and I don't have any attachments. So that's what the Related Items tab shows. Now, other items that you may have quick actions that you want to perform, such as adding an account and contact. So it's often if you If you've just met with someone and you want to add a contact, then you can click on the add contact or account/contact and add that contact in this area. So you'll see that there are pick lists associated with each of these items. Now, but you can also, in the case of title, you could also just type in their title because it may not be a generic title. So as you type a phone number similar to the full web client, it is going to parse a 10-digit character phone number into a North American format. If it needs to be a European format or some other international standard, then you can just type the formatting that you want to use for that particular phone number. Now down here, I'm adding the account information. So up above was the contact specific information, and down here I would be adding the account information. So in the case of type, you typically would have a pick list here, but I didn't see one here. Whoops, I missed the name field. Ah, there we go. Unfortunately, I had the details of, that's not right. Yeah, I had the details of the contact name suppressed. So that's just an example of adding a new contact and account. And when you're done, it brings you to a list of things that you're likely to want to do, like schedule an activity, add a note. So you may want to add a note, met on the plane, etc. And then if you want to schedule an activity, you would click that and then identify what you want to do to follow up. So maybe you had discussed having a phone call. And you'd put in your notes associated with that phone call, possibly prioritize it, make it like a high priority call, identify a type of a category. So this, let's say that's a follow-up call. And then also schedule whether or not you want it to be a time-specific call or timeless, whether you want an alarm, and down below is the related information associated with that activity. So now that activity is in the list of activities for that particular contact. when you're looking up an account, let's say I wanted to look up a particular account, there's the one that I just put in. So there's this magnifying glass to allow you to do a search. You also have a generic speed search, which is what this box is in the very top. And so if I type in a word like truck and tell it to do a search, then it's going to find any entity that has the discussion or the name of truck. So in this case, it found a contact. Here it found an account. This account actually has the account name of trucks. As we scroll further down, here's a phone call, and it must include a note or a discussion about trucks. So that's another handy way to find information when you're on the road and you just want to quickly find a contact or an account or maybe a previous history discussion that took place regarding a particular topic. So that's the speed search. Now, if we look at the go-to items, this is a configured list of items that you may want to look at. And as Jessica showed you, that's configured with this configure menu. And the configure menu lists all the various entities that you have the ability to display. And the ones that are checked are the ones that would show in that go-to menu, in this menu here. Now, as you can see, if you're integrated with a back office system like Infor CSI or Visual or some other ERP product, then you may also be able to see invoices, quotes, receivables, sales orders, and shipments that come from those systems. Of course, you can generate quotes and sales orders within Infor CRM itself. So I may have those on because we use quotes and sales orders within CRM. But in many cases where the ERP is integrated, quotes and sales orders are managed in ERP and sync over to CRM. So if I checked all of these items, then you'll notice that my menu enlarges. So now when I go back to go-to, you'll see that I have a lot more that I can go look for. And if I'm looking up a particular account, let me just open one that may have more information on it. So let's look at Abbott Worldwide, for example. If you're looking at the details, this is identifying the various profile of the account. The related items tab is identifying all the things that are related to that account. So in this case, there's a variety of notes and history, pending activities, several contacts and opportunities, an address, several attachments. And then the related items ERP is on a different tab just to make it not as long and you don't have to scroll as much. And so here you can see that these are various items that may come in from the ERP integration. Quotes and sales orders, etc. When you're built to addresses and shipped to addresses, in the ERP integration, there may be contacts from other accounts that are associated with this account, and that's what this would represent. Salespersons represent the ERP person that's responsible for some transaction within the history of the account. And then the sync history would tell us what is the status of the syncing between the two. So if we go back to this related items over here and I click on notes and history, then you can see all the various notes and history. If you click on a particular one, then that would open up the details of that history. And any related items, if there was an attachment on it, you'd see the attachment. So let's go down to attachments. Here you can see that there are different attachments. So if I click on this, it opens up that particular attachment. The ability to see the attachment, of course, would be dependent upon the device's ability to open that type of attachment. The dashboards allow you to identify specific types of information that you may want to see regarding the account long-term. So in this case, we can see that there were, in this time frame, we can see that we've got, in this case, we do have 0 for everything, but you can see that we're reporting invoice revenue, profit, margin, revenue. And then if we look down here at new transactions, this is going to display transactions from a certain period of a certain number of days from today. So it's looking at 7 days from today, 14 days from today, 30, etc. That may take a little bit of time to open. And then the open transactions is just going to identify the transactions that are currently open. So if I click on that, you'll see that I've got some aging of quotes, aging of invoices, aging of sales orders. And as you click on each of these categories of days, that's what it's going to show you. It's showing you the performance within that time frame. If you wanted to add in a quote, so we talked about scheduling an activity, adding a note. You could also add a quote, add an order. So that's going to open up the quoting capability or the ordering capability. This promote button allows you to promote the account to ERP. So very just like in the full web client, there's the ability to promote an account into ERP. So it may be a prospect today, but now we just received an order. And so we want to go ahead and promote it to ERP and do credit checking and all that. So as you can see that we're allowing you to manage the My Schedule showed the list of activities. So it's very similar to the activity list that's in the web client. If you look at the calendar view, it's going to display based on a calendar format. So as you highlight a particular period, you can see that there may be activities that are on those periods. And if you want to see, for example, highlight a week, then you can do that. This Today button would take you to today. And down below, for each of the entities that you're, the days that you're, or periods that you're on, this is going to show the activities for today. If we change it to week, it's going to show the activities for the week and break it down by day. So again, it makes it an easy way for you to navigate through your to-dos, your pending activities, and work them off while you're on the road. So you'll notice that we're managing accounts, contacts, leads, opportunities, tickets, your attachments. You can also go back to recently viewed, very similar to the full client, where you can, if you want to navigate back and forth to what you've been on earlier in the day, that's what the recently viewed would show. So these are the things that I've been on today. And then the invoices, quotes, receivables. Now the accounts near me is what Jessica was talking about, where you've got some contour capability where you can quickly see who's close to you. And this is based on your My Places definition. And then the distance search would allow you to search based on a particular distance. And so in this case, these are the places that we've defined. And so you'd click that particular place. And then you also have the ability to segment this based on what type of account it is. When you're looking at some of the forms and you click on the ellipsis over here, you'll see that you can change the theme and the style of your particular display. So if you want to change the color, if you want to change the theme, you can choose to do that. And again, the magnifying glass is a quick lookup, allowing you to look up something that you want to see. Now, let's talk about the briefcase. The briefcase allows you to go offline. So if you are, let's say you're getting ready to go on the road, you may want to start with your schedule, and the briefcase is positioned up here. You can take certain items that you want to add to the briefcase. And let me go back to that. So let me go to the account for this. Let's say that I know that I'm going to want to talk to this account while I'm on the road. So this says that the item and the related items have been briefcase. So I started at the account level. It's going to take everything in that account and it's adding it to the briefcase. And then it's asking, do you want to move to the briefcase view or do you want to continue on? So in this case, now you can see that this is in my briefcase. So if I lose the internet connection for it, maybe in the air or I'm in a part of a factory that that is not allowing me to get an internet connection at this point in time, that would still be available for me to work on. And so when I'm in offline mode, I still have the ability to manage this account offline to some extent. And so I could make offline notes, and then when I come back in, then those will be synced up with the full account. So when I get back to an internet connection, it automatically will then connect me back up. The settings menu does allow you to clear some of your storage. So for example, maybe you want to clear that briefcase from time to time, maybe something's not working right. So you may want to clear your saved credentials. Jessica showed you that it makes it easy to just save your credentials when you log in the first time. So that way, when you're on your phone, you don't have to put in a password. But if your password changes, then you may need to clear those credentials and put them in again. The same thing is true with the storage. You may want to clear your storage occasionally. And then this allows you to view some error logs. You do have the ability to clear your briefcase, clear anything that happened an hour ago, clear any recently reviewed items so that recent reviewed list is shorter. So those are just some helpful items in regards to managing the web client or the mobile client. You have online help within the mobile client. So if you're not quite sure how to do something, then you can go to the Infor CRM help, and it's going to show you what those various icons mean, and you can see how to work offline, how to do a search, and the ICBOE help, that actually stands for Infor CRM Back Office Extension. So if you're integrated with ERP, then this help menu will explain the integration components that are in the mobile client. And then the contour help will identify how you can use the mapping characteristics of within the mobile client. So I'm a big fan of using online help, not only in the mobile client, but in any of our applications, because it is quite effective. You'll notice down here, it will say that my connection is currently online. So if I lose my connection, then it will change that. You saw how I could enter accounts and contacts. You could also create new tickets and edit tickets. You can see the related items for those tickets. And so in this case, we've got 4 ticket activities and 2 attachments. And if I open this attachment, then it did a download to open that in my email rather than showing it there.
John, I'm just going to jump in real quick. Several have been asking, and so I just wanted to clarify how you switch to mobile mode or how you access mobile. And so you guys all have a link for your web client, right? That you go to a browser in your browser search bar, and you see how John says SLX mobile. So your web client will say SLX client at the end. So if you are unsure what your mobile link is, just change the word client to mobile, and then that should bring you to your login page. If you can't find it, again, shoot us an email and I will send you your mobile link to send out to your team.
Okay. The plus sign up here, remember, is a way that you can add things. So, and it's context sensitive, so it depends where I'm at. Currently, I'm on ticket attachments. So if I click the plus sign, then it's expecting me to do an upload of an attachment. So now you see that that's a quick way to add an attachment to a ticket. The same thing is true as adding an attachment to other things. Then if I go back to the ticket and look at the details for the ticket, these would be all the details. You can see that if you're familiar with Infor CRM tickets, they are formatted with a description of what the issue was. That's what this is. So this is the issue. This is the subject, and it's categorized by area category issue. So there's a 3-level categorization, which is a hierarchical categorization. It may be tied to a particular contact, and then the resolution describes how it was resolved and any comments down below. So if I'm on this form and I click the plus sign, then it's going to assume it knows that I want to create a new ticket. And so in this case, it brings up the account that I happen to be on at the time. But if I wanted to browse for a different account and pick that account, I would just browse for that. I would identify the contact associated with that particular, this ticket. And then the area category issue. If you're familiar with this, it's again a 3-level hierarchical categorization of tickets. So here we may say that it was a complaint. And then when we click the category, these are categories within complaint. So I may say that it's a sales complaint, and then these are issues within that category and area. So I may say return calls. And then of course, in the case of a ticket, you may want to identify where the source came from, what the urgency is, and you definitely would want to describe what the subject is. So this was a complaint about not being contacted. So you would identify whatever you needed in that to report that ticket. And now that ticket's been created with its related activity. Again, you could import attachments, create ticket activities. And now if I go back to recently viewed, you see more items that I've been recently on. And if I wanted to browse, go back into one of those, then I would just click on it and it would open up again. So those were the primary things that I wanted to explain and show. Does anyone, well, let me talk about one other thing. So if I go to, let's say, accounts, and I click my view settings, Jessica had pointed out that you can identify groups that you would normally see in the full client. You can identify what groups you want to add to the mobile client. You may have 30 groups in the full client, and you may only, when you're traveling, only want a few. So if you click the configure button underneath groups, then it's going to display all of your groups that you have available to you, and you pick what groups you want. And as Jessica mentioned, the order of this would identify what's going to display. So now when I'm looking at my groups, I can quickly switch between these 3 groups. So the groups are defined within the full client, but they're utilized within the mobile client. And that's true with any of the entities where there are groups. The layout would identify whether you want to see a summary layout or a detailed layout, and then also whether you want to show KPIs when, or key performance indicators, when you're looking at the list of the entity that you're on and within the group that you're in. So in this case, I'm looking at a particular group, and so I'm only seeing accounts within those groups. So I think I covered everything that I meant to show. So let's see if there are any outstanding questions.
That was great, John. Yeah, we don't have any outstanding in the chat box. If anyone wants to raise their hand and talk through something, or they want to see John do something again, or maybe something he didn't cover you wanted to see, and I can take you off mute. Okay, or anyone want to send anything to the chat box? Right. And as usual, I will send out the recording link. I'll send out the PDF slides And I'll be sure to include a link to our YouTube channel that has a lot of all these points that we covered, for you to review as well. John, anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All
I find
right.
the mobile client to be very handy when I'm on the road. I choose not to sync contacts to my phone because I don't need to. I just use the mobile portal. It has a lot more information.
Oh, let's see here. Kelly is raising her hand. Let's see. Can unmute you here. Oh, she said okay, we answered your question. Got it. All right. Thanks, Kelly. All right. Well, thanks everybody for your time today. And we'll send out the follow-up, and we're here if you have any questions or want any help. Thanks, John.
You're welcome. Bye.
Everyone have a good day.